Okay, for this video, we're going to tie a stonefly, kind of a version of a stonefly that I like to fish with a lot. It's very, very buggy looking and works well for a stonefly pattern and works well for a salmon fly pattern at times, and I've even used it for squallows. So here we go. So I start off, I use black thread, heavy black thread. This is actually black floss thread, so something pretty strong. Works well for the foam that I like to use. So we're going to get that black thread tied in. Once I get it on, I like to get a good base of black thread along the hook. So got my black thread on there. Alright, to start this fly, I'm going to take both two colors of foam. They're about a 1/4 inch wide. I think they're about 3 millimeter thick. And take orange, and I'm going to take the black, and put them together and tie them on at the same time on this hook. So about like that. First wrap relatively soft, and once I get all the way around, pull fairly tight. And I'll get about 4 or 5 tight wraps on there. That foam likes to try to walk on you a little bit when you do that, so after I get it on there fairly tight, I like to try to position it back where I want it. So, okay, now that I got that on there, I'm going to tie in some rubber legs, some white rubber legs. I like to use white whenever I'm tying stoneflies. I find that white seems to work best for the rivers that I fish, but you could use any color you want. I'm going to tie these. Notice these are 2 white rubber legs. They're connected, and I'm going to tie them in, and then once I get it tied on there, then I'll split them. So tie that on. Do about 3 soft wraps just to make sure it's where it's fastened on there. Then I'm going to use my needle nose scissors here. I poke right through. Sometimes it's a little difficult to do. Poke right through the rubber legs there. Split them. Then once I get those split, take each one, pull it to the side. Sit there right on the side of the fly. Okay, so now that I've got that tied on there, I'm done with the back end of the fly. Now I'm going to work up here towards the top end of the fly. So I'm going to wrap, and when I wrap here, I'm going to try to make this orange look kind of like a little bit of ribbing of a bug. So I wrap forward, and then I make 1 cinch wrap around it, and then I wrap forward again. My forward wraps are always on the back. Once I get it, I make 1 cinch wrap. I do it again. I'm going to do this as I work my way to the front. And sometimes it takes a little bit to figure out what you want your segments to look like. Man, I'm just about there. So this last one ends up being a pretty big one. You'll see why here in a second. Make that one fairly tight. All right, so got these different segments, working my way up towards the front. This last one's a little bigger. It should be right up here at the eye. Once I do that, then I'm going to take this black. I'm going to tie it off up in the front, just like that, with the orange. Then I come back to that segment previous to that, grab both of this foam, pull it back, and tie it off. Now that gives it quite a head, actually, you know what? I will not do that. I need to tie in my elk hair. Once I get that foam forward, then I tie in some elk hair. Got a little bit ahead of myself. So I'm going to tie in some elk hair. Use the stacker to stack it. Again, when I snip it, I like to take some of that fuzzy stuff out so that when it stacks a little better. Okay. So now I'm going to take that elk hair and I'm going to try to tie it in so that it's just about the same length, maybe just a hair longer than the body. So first wrap, somewhat loose, pull it tight. You see that hair kind of flare up. That means I got it good and tight. Sometimes it likes to walk a little bit on you when you're tying it into foam. So I like to do pretty tight wraps. There we go. Okay, so this is the stuff I don't want. So we're going to snip that. I'm going to get in there with my scissors. I like to try to grab the whole clump, get in there with my scissors, cut it all at once. Now, the nice thing about this fly is when we fold this foam over, it's going to hide a lot of this this mess that's going on right here. So I'm going to take this, fold this foam over. Now I can cinch that down like I wanted to earlier. Got a little ahead of myself. There we go. And I take scissors and I try to cut that right down at its base, just like that. So a pretty good sized fly, really. And last step, I like to put rubber legs up here in the front too. So we're going to put some right where I just tied off that foam. About 3 soft wraps. Got it sticking straight up. I'll use my needle nose scissors here. Poke through where the rubber legs are attached to each other. And then pull those to the side. There we have it. Pretty buggy looking fly. And the last step, I'm going to get a good whip finish on this thing. And we'll take it off the vise and give you a little bit of a profile from underneath. Gotta get a hold of all those rubber legs. Get those out of the way while I whip finish this. All right. There we go. I'm going to just trim up a couple of elk hair over here. Let's take that thing off of the vise. So there's kind of the profile from underneath. Those rubber legs are a little long. I would probably trim those. There we go. So, orange body, black back, elk hair, and white rubber legs. Fly floats really well. As you can see, this big foam head and a lot of the foam on there keep this fly on top of the surface. Easy to tie, and it's very, very durable. So there you have it. Little foam stone fly